Now, Zimbabwe's ruling Zanu-PF party suffered a heavy defeat to a newly formed opposition party in parliamentary and municipal by-elections held over the weekend. The Citizens Coalition for Change party claimed 61% of the vote in local government elections in several urban and rural municipalities. We talked to Jasper Mangwana from the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission about the vote and how it went. Good afternoon and thank you very much for your time, Jasper. Now, this weekend's by-elections were in fact characterized by a low voter turnout, which is honestly very worrying. What do you attribute this to?
Thank you so much, Mfundo. I would say that as a commission, I think there seem to be issues around voter apathy amongst the electorate, and some of it most likely caused by, some players in the game, allegations of rigging, and people at times not really think that maybe going there would matter. But however, I think we are doing quite a good job to ensure that there's a lot of transparency, because what Zimbabwe's electoral process is one of the most transparent processes I've seen. And we've been engaging a lot of these stakeholders to ensure that we work together and really intensify our voter education. And also maybe another issue is that we look forward to engagement and see how we can really improve these systems so that everyone is on board. But generally, by-elections usually have a low turnout with the practice that we've seen previously. But I think maybe people will consider really being active on that. Even if you look at our BVR, our biometric voter registration phase one that we did, we got about 80,000 people coming to register to vote, and we think this is quite a low number.
Oh, all right. So I take it, like you say, you'll now be intensifying your voter education going forward. But then there's a more worrying report now, or reports that are surfacing, of political parties who say that there was the use of state resources by the current leadership. There was also intimidation, violence, and even the use of state media against opponents. Did you receive complaints around this?
Thank you so much. I think I'll start with the media. We have the Media Monitoring Committee. We never received any complaint from any stakeholder for the whole duration. But we as a commission, we made a statement because we chair that committee together with the Zimbabwe Media Commission and Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe. We never received any formal complaint to that. When it comes to issues around violence, not really the commission that is directly involved in any investigations, because whoever is aggrieved should actually take that and take it to the police, or maybe bring it to the attention of the commission, and we will actually relate to the responsible authority, because we also work together with Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission. We also work together with Zimbabwe Republic Police. But we're yet to receive if there are going to be any issues that are coming to the commission to ensure that we look at them and also maybe try to assess them. But however, the elections went on very well. They were very peaceful. I think people actually voted in a very peaceful manner across the country, over and above the issues of the weather in some of the provinces in the country. If you look at Midlands, Matabeleland and Bulawayo, and Mashonaland East, there were some rains which actually affected our logistics in some areas.
Oh, okay, so I gather that you're saying, in as much as this wasn't brought to your attention in the form of a formal complaint, but you do concede that there could have been incidents of violence elsewhere?
Yeah, but there are those things really on social media. So at times they need to be investigated and prosecuted. The Zimbabwe Electoral Commission does not have any investigative or prosecuting powers. So that's the reason why it's always important for the stakeholders that work with in political sphere to engage with the relevant authorities to be assisted. But as a commission, we'll be waiting to look forward if there's going to be any of those being brought forward.
No, most certainly, as the Electoral Commission, you wouldn't have the power to prosecute, but one would assume that they would ordinarily bring some of those complaints to you, and then you would then perhaps advise. If it's beyond the issues or beyond your purview, then you would advise that this matter now is prosecutable and has to go to relevant authorities. But you're still maintaining that nobody brought these, I understand. But then there are other allegations now of blurred or unclear ballot papers. Do you know of any of these? Did any of your officials actually speak of printing issues?
Thank you so much. I think we had one inquiry from one of the political players, one of the parties, to say that the ballot paper is not so clear, but we set our records straight. Zimbabwe has never printed any colored ballot paper since 1980. And these are just issues that are raised by political players without even engaging the commission to understand the clear position and knowing very well the background of the issue. We heard that, but however, I think we have seen even people on social media saying there was nothing really different in terms of the ballot paper. We don't change any logo or change anything. We print the logo as is, as we are empowered by the law to ensure that the commission designs and does the provision of the printing of the voters' roll in this country. And the commission has always been engaging stakeholders. However, we feel that if there are any issues some of these stakeholders have, they should bring it to the attention of the Commission before really going public about it, because at times they always shoot themselves in the foot, because at the end of the day, they realize that there's really nothing different from the ballot paper that people are voting in there. No one is really, we try to make sure that everyone there's no favor in terms of how we print the ballot paper, and we have done that.
All right, all right. And then insofar as those that wanted to vote at certain stations but were turned away, are you aware of this, particularly in the Epworth constituency, where some maintain that this is exactly where they voted the last time, but they were turned away this time? Are you aware of any complaints around that?
We are yet to receive, because if you say that statement is too general, we need a name, we need an ID number. If that person is actually concerned, if it's serious that he voted in 2018 and never transferred, they should approach the Commission. The Commission will look at it. However, because this by-election is not for everyone, because the law, the Zimbabwe Electoral Act is quite clear on who's supposed to vote for a specific by-election. I'll tell you, some instances there were two different voters rolls, one for the local authority, which closes the day the vacancy arises, and one for the National Assembly, which closes 2 days after the proclamation by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe. So because of that, when people say that I couldn't vote because my name was not there, we would expect them to bring a name and say, this is my name, this is my ID, and can you look into this matter? Then the Commission is able to say, is it really an error of the Commission? But in most cases, for your information, these people are not even in those voters' rolls. Remember, this by-election is not for everyone. It's only meant for these areas where the elections are. Some would have transferred later than the closure of the voters' roll. Some would have transferred before the voters' roll closed. So these are some of the issues that are involved. We also want to push our voter education so that people really know about the implications of transfers as well as registration.
But perhaps to be more pointed.
In the previous PPR inspection, they couldn't because the voters rolls had closed.
Okay, perhaps to be more pointed, I mean, the question here, I understand when you're saying that, I mean, right now we're speaking of, in general, there's no specific individual that has come forward. But then insofar as the party is concerned, I know the biggest party, the ones that the biggest winners in these particular by-elections, that's the Triple C of Nelson Chamisa, they have in fact accused the IEC of the Electoral Commission of rigging the voters' roll or manipulating the voters' roll. Are you at least dealing with their allegations, or you're not aware of those? We're actually waiting to get that. We need to get that, because one that I'll tell you that all the contesting candidates in this by-election got the voters' rolls in January. They got these voters' rolls in January, and they had them the whole of February, so that if they had any issue, they would bring it to the attention of the Commission. If they have the names and the IDs, we had previous the Commission to bring them in so that we can look at the matter. That is what I can say. If they have an issue, they'll bring it, and we'll look at them. We know very well that maybe there might be a lot of speculations on social media, but it's also important for the Commission to get something written down if we're going to respond and investigate. But after making so many, several, checks on some of the allegations coming in even from some of the organizations online, we realize some of them are not founded, they're not even in reality. All right, but I get the sense from you that mostly some of these complaints, you're also just hearing of them from social media as opposed to them actually being brought to you as the relevant structure to deal with them.
Yes, actually, I'll tell you that we had one complaint from one of the candidates, Leader Masarira, who said that I had an issue with the voters roll, but her case was dismissed at the High Court through an agent chamber application. So these are some of the issues that we find when we are actually running elections, and we think it's also good to engage the Commission and put your issues on paper if there are really issues, because at times some of them will be just politicking. So at the end of the day, nothing comes to the Commission.
But is there a possibility for you to perhaps reach out? I know it's a lot to do, but because one would be concerned, particularly as the Electoral Commission, that there seems to be so many complaints, yes, outside of your area of assistance where you could assist them. But is there any way that you'd be looking to reach out to the electorate to say, we hear there are so many complaints, but there are complaints everywhere else but where we can actually deal with them. Would there be a possibility of reaching out to try and air some of these issues and sort them out?
Thank you so much. I'll tell you that the Commission is really on a drive to engage a lot of players in different platforms on voter education, including this past, by-election. I think if you go and check on people that have been, even some of the stakeholders that are competing, including the agents, they are quite clear in the processes of the Commission, and they're quite happy with what we delivered as a Commission. So I think we're out there. We have been doing a multi-stakeholder engagements with on different platforms with civic society, with the political parties through the multi-party liaison committee, which is a provision of of the law, with as well, faith-based organizations, with as well, we very soon will be conducting a social media conference on elections, because it seems as if a lot of people actually talking about elections. There are people on social media who do not even understand the electoral process on the ground. Some of them are not even registered voters. Some of them have never even experienced the voting process. So at times when they make allegations, it's because the social media goes viral. But want to engage these people to say, come on the ground and engage with the commission and see how transparent the process is. If there are allegations, they should be brought to the commission, and the commission is willing to work with anyone who brings to their attention issues of matter.
All right, Jasper. Hopefully they will bring any issues of concern. That is Jasper Mangwana from the Zimbabwe's Electoral Commission.